but they are shooting these less lethal and not worrying about the consequences. They are clearly breaking the law. I wish we could sue on behalf of all people, not just journalists, because they shouldn't be doing this to anybody. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup.
This is Ashley with Status Coup.
On the ground.
In Philadelphia.
Flint, Michigan. East Palestine, Ohio. Please support the leading independent news outlet on the ground.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. A little good breaking news this weekend as a federal judge in Los Angeles has issued a temporary injunction against the LAPD from firing less lethal rounds and weaponry at journalists covering anti-ICE raid protests. This is a ruling in response to our lawsuit, along with co-plaintiff, the Los Angeles Press Club. So at least temporarily, the LAPD cannot target and brutalize journalists. Would be nice if they had to stop doing it to non-journalists too, but crawl before we could walk. Let me read you some highlights, then I'll get into the actual document. Again, this is a temporary injunction in response to our lawsuit against the LAPD and the city of Los Angeles. Federal judge orders LAPD to stop shooting journalists with rubber bullets at protests. Federal judge has granted a temporary restraining order that blocks the Los Angeles police officers from using rubber projectiles and other so-called less lethal munitions against reporters covering protests against the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. In a ruling made public Friday, U.S. District Judge Hernan de Vera said a coalition of press rights organizations successfully argued that a court injunction was necessary to protect journalists and others exercising First Amendment rights. The Los Angeles Press Club and investigative reporting network Status Coup filed suit last month to, quote, force the LAPD to respect the constitutional and statutory rights of journalists engaged in reporting on these protests and inevitable protests to come. The lawsuit challenged the, quote, continuing abuse by police of members of the media covering the demonstrations. Vera's orders bars the department from using less lethal munitions and other crowd control tools, such as chemical irritants and flashbang grenades, quote, against journalists who are not posing a threat to imminent harm to an officer or another person. Quote, on some occasions, LAPD officers purposely targeted individuals who were clearly identifiable as members of the press. In a statement Friday, LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell said he was aware of the court's decision, but could not comment. And then they gave some bumper sticker bullshit answer that they respect the press. The judge cited a June 8th incident at a demonstration downtown where an Australian reporter named Lauren Tomasi had wrapped up a report on live TV dozens of feet away from a line of officers. Quote, no protesters are visible near here, Vera wrote. Quote, despite this, an LAPD officer appears to aim at Tomasi, hitting her leg with a rubber bullet. So we have a lot of new subscribers. We just passed 473,000 subscribers. So thank you to all our new subscribers. If you're new here, subscribe and support us as a paid member for as low as 16 cents a day. That's $5 a month. That's what helps us provide this on-the-ground journalism, which in this case was our reporter in LA, Tina Desiree Berg, on the ground. But before I read parts of the actual injunction, the actual court document, I want to show you, if you hadn't seen this, this was some of what happened while we were covering the anti-ICE protests in LA, the brutality of the LAPD. This is our reporter, Tina Desiree Berg, just covering it, covering what the stormtroopers were doing, because let's be clear, they're armed and acting like stormtroopers. Here's one of Tina getting shot by a so-called less lethal bullet.
You just hit me! I just got hit with the left lethal. Yeah, I'm okay. All right, I got hit with a left lethal. I'm okay. That's what the Kevlar is for. I have Kevlar tights on under my pants, so it didn't penetrate anything. We're about to get kenneled this way. Come this way.
Bullets are plenty lethal, and can do serious damage and can kill you if you're hit by a less lethal rubber bullet at point blank range. When I was reporting almost a decade ago at Standing Rock, I saw a protester nearly have his damn head blown off by a less lethal bullet. I'll never forget it. It looked like his scalp had been taken off by a less lethal bullet. Tina was smart. She had Kevlar protection under, so it really just grazed her, left her sore the next day. There's a lot of journalists that don't have that kind of protection, and there's certainly most protesters do not have Kevlar underneath them. I want to show you this. You're not going to be able to actually see it on camera the moment he was hit, but we'll show you the brutal, grisly image of his leg. This is photojournalist, video journalist Nick Stern, who has done work for us in the past. On this night, he happened not to be working for us, but he was near Tina, and he got hit in the upper thigh by a so-called less lethal bullet.
Don't rub it.
Oh, fuck. Fuck. Getting hit. Getting hit.
We're press. Please don't shoot.
We are literally on press here. Where do you want us to go?
Don't
Go
shoot.
out. Don't shoot us. All right, we are on press. Okay, can you let us go without shooting us?
So, trigger warning, look away if you get nauseated easily by certain images. Here is the damage done for that less lethal 40 millimeter round that got shot at video journalist Nick Stern. Look at his upper thigh. The surgeon, because he had to get emergency surgery, the surgeon said they treated it like it was a live bullet. That's how they had to treat it, because it did that much damage. He is still recovering a month later. He is very, very lucky he got shot with that in the upper thigh and not in the chest. You know, in all instances, I don't know if the LAPD or in some cases the LA sheriff, I don't know if they're intentionally targeting journalists or they're just shooting willy-nilly like a bunch of stormtrooper cowboys and they just don't know who they're shooting at. But they are shooting these less lethal, which again can do serious damage to a human, including death, and not worrying about the consequences. When in most cases, the people are walking away from them, moving away from them. And in the cases of the press, they are clearly identified as press. They have press across their chest, a press helmet. 99% of the time, police know who is press and who is not. So it is outrageous that this is even a question, that you even need a lawsuit to stop the police from terrorizing the press. I want to show you a little bit more here, so you see what the LAPD was doing, not just to press, but to all people, to just people peacefully protesting. Here is the LAPD running over people, including one poor protester, on their horses, trampling this protester. you could hear the protester that was trampled screaming. I don't know what happened to that person. How about we get an injunction against that? I mean, if you didn't know this was like LA or America, you would think this is some like, I don't know, third world war zone, or you would just think it's some like Call of Duty video game. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And in other instances, less violent or, horrific on camera, but you had LAPD very much interfering with journalists doing their job. Here is Tina, got position kind of like elevated on a highway embankment. She is in a zone where she's allowed to be legally, and she's shooting what is happening underneath with a storm of LAPD police, and she is blocked from shooting. And she gets into it with the police officer. Let's show you that.
For your safety. Let's go. Let's go.
For what?
Let's go.
For what?
Let's go, man.
Why am I ashamed of
Ma'am, I'm being a direct order to leave.
You don't get boss me around.
Okay. And I'm telling you, for your safety and others, I need you to leave.
It's not
Okay?
my
Yes, for your safety.
and I'm
Yes,
not
it
gonna
is.
harm you. Unbelievable. It's not.
You drive that way.
4097, 497 says you can film me.
I get that. But
You get that, so you're breaking the law.
But you have
So
to
you say
film
you're breaking the law.
in an area
That's
where
not what it
we
says.
post, okay?
That is not what it says.
Okay.
That is not what
All right,
497
ma'am.
says.
Well, I'm asking you to leave. I'm not going to argue anymore.
There was nothing wrong with us filming those arrests.
You can film from over there.
No, I can't. How can I see
Okay,
the
let's
arrest
go.
over there right now? You guys are going to face one hell of a lawsuit when this is over. How many millions of dollars have you guys cost the city of LA?
Us?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
Do you know how many lawsuits
I'm not
we paid
answering
out
any
last year?
questions. Let's just walk out.
$147 million. Because you guys can't abide your own laws.
Okay.
That is Tina, our badass reporter that you are paying for. You will not see that. You do not see people like Tina allowed on CNN because they don't argue with the police over in the corporate media. They basically do stenography for the police. You are paying for Tina. Please support us for as low as $5 a month so we could use her out there more and we could hire more reporters to do aggressive in the trenches, actual living, breathing journalism. But she said you were gonna face one hell of a lawsuit, and we jumped on with the Los Angeles Press Club and we sued the city of Los Angeles and the LAPD police chief because they are clearly breaking the law. I wish we could sue on behalf of all people, not just journalists, because they shouldn't be doing this to anybody. Let me repeat, anybody, peaceful protesters. But in this case, we were able to sue to get them, at least for now, to stop shooting at journalists, not just rubber bullets, but also tear gas, as well as flashbang grenades. Let me read just some of the lawsuit to you. The judge's decision that came down yesterday to file an injunction blocking the LAPD from using these, quote, less lethal munitions. The judge wrote on June 9th, 2025, photojournalist Michael Nigro took his position on the Temple Street Bridge, a pedestrian bridge offering a view of the protests in front of Edward R. Roybal Federal Building. Declaration of Michael Nigro. Though he was high above the protests below, he soon heard the telltale sound of less lethal munitions hitting a pole near his head. A sound he recognized from covering conflict zones. Later that day, he was shot in the head with a less lethal munition by LAPD officer. Nigro's experience was far from unique. Plaintiffs, Los Angeles Press Club, and Status Coup proffer at least 35 troubling instances between June 6th and June 19th in which the LAPD hit journalists with less lethal munitions, exposed them to tear gas, forced them away from public places, or used other forms of physical force. Plaintiffs seek a temporary restraining order prohibiting the city of Los Angeles and Chief Jim McDonald from removing journalists from closed areas, detaining or arresting journalists, and using less lethal munitions and chemical agents against journalists. Defendants, the LAPD, contend in the main that these media-related incidents in June are, quote, old news, and cavil that there is no upcoming emergency to justify such an order. Opposition to application. The court disagrees. Plaintiffs have shown a likelihood of success on their First Amendment claim and have established to the court's satisfaction that they are likely to suffer irreparable harm covering continuing protests in LA. Indeed, given the fundamental nature of the speech interests involved and the almost daily protests throughout Southern California drawing media coverage, the identified harm is undoubtedly imminent and concrete. The application is granted with the modifications and additions noted below. The court will issue a briefing schedule for a preliminary injunction hearing. One more part. Over the last month, the past proved prologue. Despite Section 409.7 protections, that's actually the law that Tina was citing to that cop who was illegally blocking her from doing journalism, the LAPD repeatedly ordered journalists to leave closed areas. On June 8th, LAPD officers held a group of approximately 20 to 30 journalists from MSNBC, CNN, the AP, and other outlets in a, quote, press area approximately 150 feet from protests under threat of arrest. Declaration of Constanza Eliana Chania Mercado. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. On June 9th, the LAPD detained CNN reporter Jason Carroll and his crew while they were live on air, warning that he would be arrested if he returned to the area. Declaration of Adam Rose. On June 10th, Tina Berg, a journalist with Status Coup, was forced from her position on an embankment over 100 feet from protesters. Declaration by Tina Berg and Jordan Sheridan. I spoke with the lawyers for this. On June 11th, a group of press, including a Fox News journalist and freelancer, were kettled in front of City Hall. And on June 19th, LAPD officers arrested journalist Anthony Arendorf while he was covering an ICE raid. So that's just some of the lawsuit. I will put in, I'll put a link in if you want to read the injunction. But the bottom line is this is much bigger than LA, folks. I've been, covering protests for over a decade. I was shot with a rubber bullet in my calf at Standing Rock. I'm not, I didn't make a big deal of it because a lot of protesters and journalists were severely injured by rubber bullets and worse. For me, I just had a severe pain in my calf for 2 weeks and I still have a scar to prove it. But, it wasn't so bad. But it is misleading when the press even report and use the terminology less lethal bullets. These could kill you. They could do permanent damage if you're shot at point blank. Tear gas is banned from being used in war. It was banned after World War I because it was declared a chemical weapon. Yet the LAPD and police departments all over this country are able to use it willy-nilly. This isn't protecting the people. This is protecting capitalism. This is protecting capital. It's protecting the 1%. And it's protecting the fascists because this is fascist what's going on there. If you don't have actual journalists in this country, you have a dictatorship. That's one of the telltale signs of dictatorship when there is no press and when the press basically is working for the state, which in our country, the corporate press might as well be. So I'm proud to be on this lawsuit. We're going to see it all the way through. Hopefully they're made to stop permanently. But to be clear, this is not just an LA thing. We've seen police in New York, in Chicago, in DC, in Baltimore, in Ferguson, Missouri, in St. Louis, Missouri, all over the place, terrorize both journalists and protesters. And it has to stop. Please support Status Coup as a paying member for as low as $5 a month. I am not beyond begging you, the people. I will not beg corporations. I will not beg oligarchs. I will not beg the police, but I will beg the proletariat. Help us continue to build justice journalism. I want to pay Tina. I want to use Tina more out there. I'd love to hire Tina full-time. We don't have the money to do it. That's where you come in. What's $5 a month, 16 cents a day worth to you? Is it worth real, living, breathing journalism? StatusCoup.com/join.